Creators, it's Claire from Springworth, and today I was thinking about Christmas in July we have here in Australia, and we obviously wrap our presents in fabric because hey, I have a whole drawer full of fabric, but we don't really have like gift tags or decorations to really make them pop. So I am going to make some Christmas gift tags. They're going to kind of look a bit like ornaments. So my plan is I'm going to have a circle like this. I really do want the scalloped edge. I'm going to stuff the center, just a small circle so that there's a flat edge and a stuffed center. And I'm going to put a letter on it. So I'm going to put an initial on here and I'm going to sew it on with the sewing machine. So I'm going to do like a raw edge sewn applique. So I'm obviously going to use in leftovers, probably not scraps as such, they're not trimmings. The red Christmas, and then I have that little light green. I'm not sure if that colour quite comes through. It's a really, really pale green, and I think the letter in green and the ornament in red, and I may switch that up so we have kind of opposites. But yeah, kind of excited for that. It's not something I would have thought about making, but I was thinking about how am I going to use my scraps. Water erasable pen. I'm going to sketch out the letter and then I will stitch the outline of that letter onto the fabric. Obviously this is the first time I've ever tried machine applique and I'm doing it live on camera. I have just white thread on. I have heaps of the red, heaps of the green, so if I make a mistake with this, that is totally fine. I'm not going to stress that. Where's my needle position? I'm going to use a short straight stitch. Not too short, in case I have to pull it out. And I'm just going to go really slowly. I'm going to turn the machine down as far as possible and just try my best to go slowly. The straight lines are okay, but the curve will be interesting. I'm going to keep the needle down while I do the turns. I'm just manually winding it if I'm not sure where I want to end up. The needle down and just make sure I've got a nice flat surface to work on. These materials are both quite thin. I probably could use a bit of interfacing on here, but I'm always willing to give something a try before making it more complicated. Then is the outline, see if you can see that. And then let's try the inner line. And I don't have a heap to make, so I'm happy to spend a little bit of time with these. Helps if your needle's threaded. So I'm going to take all the threads to the back. So I'm just going to wash this off and then I will trim out the D. I washed and ironed that just so I'm not working with anything wet, and now let's have a go at cutting out the excess fabric. Obviously being careful not to cut the backing fabric. And I have seen people use like a curved scissor for this, but I don't have any curved scissors. One scrappy letter D, and I'll tell you that it's harder than it looks. So let's move on to making the ornament, the gift tag part. Slightly more scalloped, if somewhat off center, but it is a handmade personalized gift tag. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to run a stitch around to have the padding inside, because I don't want to keep the scalloping unpadded. And I can then play with the crease. So, long stitch. I'm basically just going to baste and a circle. I'm going to keep it smaller than that, so I'm just going to use the line as the guide for the presser foot. Possibly the world's worst circle. And I closed the circle, which is exactly what I didn't want, because I want to put stuff in it. So I'm going to just open up where the opening on the scalloped edge is. If you haven't seen it before, this is my offcuts of batting from making quilts, which I think makes perfect wadding, because this piece is really just, it's too small to do anything else. Like, you couldn't really attach that to a larger piece. I am going to make this line slightly larger, and I'm probably going to do it by hand, considering the success of the sewing machine circle. So I'm going to stuff this part quite tightly. I'm happy with that. I'm probably just going to close I'm going to close the circle so the batten doesn't keep popping out, and then I'll remove this basting stitch and then a loop to be able to attach it to the presents. One finished name tag. So that's the Raw Edge Applique, and it is a bit of a shredding fabric, so I expect that to be interesting. I did a pretty poor job with the scallop. I never knew a scallop was so difficult. And then on the back I have just this string which will hold the ribbon. So I'll pop the ribbon through here and then the ribbon around the present, and that will then hold the ribbon, hold the tag onto the present. So love that. I have to make more because I can't just have one. And happy Christmas in July.